So if I have this point right here, I want to find the x and the y intercepts. I need to put that in my slope-intercept form. So if I give you 2 points, what do I always want to find? The slope, right? And I want to use my line and L. So I'm going to take these 2 points, -6, 4, and put it underneath 3, -5. So I have my 2 points. I want to find my x and y intercepts so I can put it into an equation. So now when I do my L, I'm going to take 4 minus a -5, and then on the bottom we're going to put -6 minus 3. 2 negatives, a negative turns into a positive, so that's 4 plus 5. Then I have 4 plus 5, which is 9. -6 minus 3, that gives me -9. 9 divided by -9 is -1. So this is my slope. So I can write it as y equals -1x plus b. So if I'm looking for the x and y intercepts, I have my slope-intercept equation. Now I just have to find out what the b is. So if I just use this equation right here, that -6 is my x1. Oops, that 4 is my y1. So I can plug that into that equation. So over here where the y is actually going to be 4. So I'm going to have 4 equals -1. This x right here is the same thing as that -6 over there. So I'm going to put -6 plus b. So I have 4 equals -1 times a -6 is 6 plus b. And then I want to get b by itself. On my wall, I'm going to -6 to both sides. And I got -2 equals b. So I can just substitute that in for there. So my equation would be in slope-intercept form, y equals -x minus 2. So here is my equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so I want to find the x and y intercepts. I have y equals -x minus 2. I could graph -2. This number right here, is that my slope or my y-intercept? Okay, y-intercept. Okay, remember that. This is my y-intercept. So this is my x-axis. This is my y-axis. So my y-intercept is -2. Okay. So if I'm looking for my y-intercept, that's -2. Now if I want to find my slope is what? Invisible 1 here. So my slope is a -1. So that means I have to go down 1 over 1. And then I would draw my line. And then my x-intercept would be, here's my x-axis. Line crosses right there. So that point on the graph would be my x-intercept. Okay, so this equation is slope-intercept. Now I want to change it into standard form. Standard form again, remember, is ax plus by equals c. So if I take this equation right here, and I got to change it into standard form, I need to move a -1 to the other side. I have to put my x's and my y's on the same side. So if I have the equation y equals -1x minus 2, draw my wall. I need to move the -x to the other side. So the opposite of -x would be +x. So if I add x to both sides, I'm going to have x plus y equals -2. Okay, so an easy way of finding the x and the y intercept is do my xy chart. Is that coming back? XY chart? In my chart, I'm going to put a 0 and a 0. And I'm going to substitute a 0 in for the x. So when I do that, I'm going to have 0 plus y equals -2. This 0 really not there. You're going to erase that. And you're left with y equals -2. And I put that in my chart. Now I know my y-intercept is -2 because y equals -2. Now I got to find my x-intercept to find out what number goes there. So I go back to the equation where I got y equals 0, and I substitute 0 in for the y. So then I have x plus 0 equals -2. And then x plus 0 is just x equals -2. So in this problem, the y-intercept is -2, and so is the x-intercept. So in the first way we did it, we found the slope with that equation with these points, then found out what the intercepts were by graphing it. But when I graphed it, you couldn't tell where that x was. You're kind of guessing where it's at. But putting it into standard form, then substituting it, you can find easier. But if I say, let's take a look at those 2 points. Okay. Put this in point slope form. Remember what the point slope form equation is? Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. When I look at this equation here, or like point, I have x1, y1. Or I could say this is x1 or y1. If I have 2 numbers that are positive, I'm going to use those points. So now I just substitute back in again. Y minus y1, which is 2. I don't know what my slope is yet. And then I have x minus x1, which is 4. Okay, so we're missing the slope. So in order to find the slope, I'm going to take my 2 points in here. So we're going to have -2, 8. And then we're going to have 4, 2. So I have to do my L, and I subtract 8 minus 2, and then -2 minus 4. On the top, we have 8 minus 2, which is 6. Negative 2 minus 4, which is negative 6. So my slope is negative 1. So now I'll just take this negative 1 and put it into there. And so my point slope form is y minus 2 equals negative 1, x minus 4. Okay, so if I give you this equation right here, and then I ask you find the x and the y intercepts, now that I give you an equation, you don't have to worry about changing it into any form. I want to find the x and y intercepts. I do my x-y chart. 0, 0. Okay, so if you're given an equation and you're asked to find the x and y intercepts, x-y chart, and then substitute 0 in for the x. And I go back and write it. 4 parentheses 0 plus 5y equals 20. 4 times 0 is just 0 plus 5y equals 20. This 0 you don't really need to write down, it's not there. I need to get the y by itself, so I have to divide both sides by 5. That cancels out, and I get y equals 20 divided by 5 is 4, so that 4 goes right there. Now I have the y-intercept. Let's go ahead and solve for what number is going to go right there. So I take my 0, and I substitute it in for the y. I'm going to write 4x plus 5y equals 20. And instead of writing the y, I'm going to substitute in the 0. And then I go back and rewrite 4x. 5 times 0 cancels out, equals 20. Okay. I want to get the x by itself, so I divide both sides by 4. That cancels, and I get x equals 5, and that 5 goes right there. So just to review our equations, our formulas, point slope form is y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. Slope intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Standard form, ax plus by equals c. The three forms that we talked about so far this year. So if I want to put this in point slope form, going back, y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. This is my x1. That's my y1. So I just insert the numbers where they belong. Y minus 1. Sorry, not 1. Y1 is right here. Y minus 2 equals my slope, or my m, is 5. X minus x1, which is right here, 1.